Joseph Walter Jackson was born on July 26, 1929, to Samuel and Crystal Jackson in Fountain Hill, Arkansas. He is the oldest of five children. A sister, Verna, died when she was 7. Samuel, a high school teacher, was a strict, unwieldy man who raised his children with an iron fist. They were not allowed to socialize with friends outside the home. The Bible says that bad occasions spoil youthful habits, Crystal explained to them. Samuel Jackson, no, not the actor, loved his family, but he was distant and hard to reach. Remembered a relative. He rarely showed his family any affection, so he was misunderstood. People thought he had no feelings, but he did. He was sensitive, but don't know what to do with his sensitivities. Joseph would take after his father in so many ways. Samuel and Crystal divorced when Joseph was a teenager. Sam moved to Oakland, taking Joseph with him, while Crystal took Joseph's brother and sisters to East Chicago. When Samuel married a third time, Joseph decided to join his mother and siblings in Indiana. He dropped out of school in the 11th grade and became a boxer in the Golden Gloves. Shortly thereafter, he met Catherine Esther's Cruz at a neighborhood party. She was a pretty and petite woman, and Joseph was attracted to her affable personality and warm smile. Catherine was born on May 1st, 1930, and christened Katie B. Screws after an aunt on her father's side. She was called Kate or Katie as a child, and those closest to her today still call her that. Katie was born to Prince Albert Screws and Martha Upshaw in Barber County, a few miles from Russell County, Alabama, a rural farming area that had been home to her family for generations. Her parents had been married for a year. They would have another child, Haiti, in 1931. Prince Screws worked for the Seminole Railroad and also as a tenant cotton farmer, as did Catherine's grandfather and great grandfather. Kendall Brown, who sang every Sunday in a Russell County church and was removed for his voice, had once been a slave for an Alabama family named Screws, whose name he eventually adopted as his own. People told me that when the church windows were open, you could hear my great grandfather's voice ringing out all over the valley. Catherine would recall, it would just ring out over everybody else's, and when I heard this, I said to myself, well, maybe it's in the blood. At the age of 18 months, Catherine was stricken with polio, at the time often called infantile paralysis because it struck so many children. There was no vaccine in those days, and many children, like Joseph's sister Verna, either died from it or were severely crippled. In 1934, Prince Screws moved his family to East Chicago, Indiana. In search of a steady job, he was employed in the steel mills before finding work as a Pullman porter in the Illinois Central Railroad. In less than a year, Prince and Martha divorced. Martha remained in East Chicago with her young daughters. Because of her polio, Catherine became a shy, introverted child who was often taunted by her schoolmates. She was always in and out of hospitals. Unable to graduate from high school, she would take equivalent courses as an adult and get her diploma in that way. Until she was 16, she wore a brace or used crutches. Today, she walks with a limp. Her positive child memories have always been about music. She and her sister, Haiti, grew up listening to country western radio programs, admiring such stars as Hank Williams and Ernest Tubbs. They were members of the high school orchestra, the church standard band, and the school choir. Catherine, who also sang in a local Baptist church, dreamed of a career in the show business, first as an actress and then a vocalist. When she met Joseph, Catherine fell for him immediately, though he had married someone else. It lasted only about a year. After his divorce, Catherine began dating Joseph and the couple soon became engaged. She was under his spell, gripped by his charisma, seduced by his charm, his looks, his power. He was a commanding man who took control, and she sensed she would always feel safe with him. She found herself enjoying his stories, laughing at his jokes. His eyes were large, set wide apart, and a color of hazel she had never ever seen before, almost emerald. Whenever she looked into him, as she would tell it, she knew she was being swept away, and it was that she wanted for herself, or, as she put it, I felt crazy in love. They were opposites in many ways. She was soft, Joseph was hard. She was reasonable, Joseph was explosive. She was romantic, Joseph was pragmatic. However, the chemistry was there for them. Both were musical. He was a bluesman who played guitar. She was a country western fan who played clarinet and piano. When they were recording, the two would snuggle up together on cold winter nights and sing Christmas carols. Sometimes they would harmonize, and the blend was a good one, thanks to Catherine's beautiful soprano voice. Michael Jackson feels he inherited his singing ability from his mother. He has recalled that in his earliest memory of Catherine, she is holding him in her arms and singing such as You're My Sunshine and Cotton Fields. Joseph, 20, and Catherine, 19, were married by a justice of the peace in November 5th, 1949, in Crown Point, Indiana, after a 6-month engagement. Catherine has said that she was so affected by her parents' divorce and the fact that she was raised in a broken home, she promised herself once she found a husband, she would stay married to him, no matter what circumstances may come in their way. It didn't seem that she had much to worry about with Joseph, though. He treated her respectfully and showed her every consideration. She enjoyed his company. He made her laugh like no one ever had in the past. Importantly, there was a tremendous bonding between them. Joseph was a passionate man, Catherine less so woman. However, they were in love. They were incapable and they made it work. Their newlyweds settled in Gary, Indiana. The first child, Marin, nicknamed Rebbe, pronounced Rebbe, was born on May 29th, 1950. The rest of the brought followed in quick succession. On May 4th, 1951, Catherine's 21st birthday, she gave birth to Sigmund Esco, nicknamed Jackie. 2 years later, on October 15th, 1953, Tiriano Ardelia was born. He was called Tito. Jermaine Lejeune followed on December 11th, 1954. Latoya Yvonne on May 29th, 1956. Marlene David on March 12th, 1957. One of the set was of premature twins. The other, Brendan, died within 24 hours of birth. Michael Joseph Jackson on August 29th, 1958, with a funny looking head, big brown eyes, and long hands, said his mother, akin to his nickname Applehead. Stephen Randall, called Randy, on October 29th, 1961, and then Janet Dementa on May 16th, 1966.